Hi children, welcome to our next class. And in last class you learned about digestive system and respiratory system, right? From your last lessons you might have understood that our body needs food, water and oxygen to carry out our life, right? Then how do all the necessary materials are transported to each and every part of the body? So, these are the necessary things: oxygen, food and water to carry our life. So, these necessary things are carried throughout the body with the help of our blood. So, in today's class, we are going to discuss about how this blood is transporting the necessary materials throughout the body. Okay, so our next lesson is transportation in animals and plants. So what's our next topic is transportation in plants and animals. Transportation in animals and plants. That is the lesson we are going to discuss now. Now, do all the animals have blood to transport the necessary materials? For example, if you take single cell animals like amoeba, you had seen amoeba in a respiration lesson also. It doesn't have the blood to carry or to transport the necessary materials. Then how do these animals or how do amoeba respire? Last lesson we discussed already. It can go for the respiration by the help of cell membrane, and the gases are exchanged in and out by a process called as diffusion. Transportation of materials is done by a process called as diffusion. What's the meaning of diffusion? To understand this, we'll do one small activity here. To understand the meaning of diffusion, how does the diffusion occurs in animals, we'll see. To understand, you take a glass or a beaker and fill this beaker with half of the water and take a tablespoon of copper sulfate and add in this water. Just mix it well and see how does these particles are mixing in the water and how it's giving a thick color to the water. You can see this color, the water obtained this color because of the particles are moving from a region of higher concentration to the lower concentration. The particles are moving. Because of this, the water got a blue color, and this is the way the diffusion process takes place. The particles are moving from a region of high concentration to lower concentration. Particles are moving. So in this way, the oxygen they'll respire, they'll take inside and they release the carbon dioxide outside. Even by the engulfing of food particles also they are taken by the pseudopodias, which are false feet in the amoeba. So in single cellular organisms, the transportation is taken place by the process of diffusion. And when we come to the multicellular organisms, in multicellular organisms, that means their body have n number of cells. So in multicellular organisms, transportation is taken place by blood. So the system which is helping in the multicellular organism to transport the materials is known as circulatory system. Which system? Circulatory system. So the circulatory system is helping to transport the required materials like oxygen, food, water. This all can be carried with the help of circulatory system. So multicellular organisms are having circulatory system. So it circulates by the help of blood. With the help of blood, the circulatory system is working. And the blood have what is the meaning of blood, what does it contain, and what are the functions of blood, we'll see now. So blood is a fluid tissue. It's a fluid connecting tissue. It's connecting from one organ to the other organ, from one cell to the other cell. So it's a connecting fluid. It's a connecting fluid. And it has plasma. Blood consists of plasma and blood cells. Blood cells and plasma. The plasma is nothing but the yellow color, the fluid, the 95% of water it consists, and the remaining percent salts are present. So this combination forms the plasma. So in the plasma, the blood cells are floating. So the blood is composed of plasma and blood cells. Plasma is the fluid which have the different types of cells in them. Okay, now what are the functions of the blood? What actually the blood do in organism's body? So the blood is the main fluid which is carrying the oxygen to each and every part of the cell. In our body, there are different cells. So each cell needs the oxygen to break down the glucose, to break down the food particles, and to release the energy. This you learnt in your respiration lesson. So that an oxygen is transported by blood. And it is also carrying nutrients. Nutrients are nothing but your food. So the nutrients are carried to each and every part of the cell by our blood. Blood takes these nutrients and transport to each and every cell. And also it collects the waste materials. After metabolic activities, that means after using up this oxygen and the nutrients, and then cells release some waste materials. Those waste materials should not stagnated in the body. So they become toxic and they may cause for some diseases. So these waste materials are transported to particular organ where they can be eliminated. They can be sent out from the body. So this work is also done by blood. It collects all the waste materials and take to the particular organs where they can remove from the body. So they are carrying the oxygen. Blood is helping to carry the oxygen. Blood is carrying nutrients to each and every part. Blood is collecting the waste materials from different parts and taking place to the necessary parts. So these are the important functions blood is doing in our body. And there are different types of cells in the blood. One is RBC, WBC and platelets. These are the different cells present in blood. Now we will see about each cell and what is their shape, what's their function, we'll discuss now. So the first cells are RBC. The full form of RBC is red blood cells. RBC means red blood cells. They are biconcave in the shape What is the shape of red blood cells? Biconcave shape, and they do not have the nucleus. Without the nucleus, the cells present in our body are only the red blood cells. Other all the cells, middle of the cell, center of the cell, nucleus is present, right? But in the RBC, there is no nucleus. No nucleus, and their shape is biconcave in shape, and they have a pigment called hemoglobin. Hemoglobin pigment is present in red blood cells. Because of this only, it gives the color to our blood, that is red color. Our blood, anybody, any people, none of their region or none of their caste or none of their any, either female or male, gender also not matter. Human beings, all the human beings' blood is red in color. Yes, when you get hurt, blood oozes out and you see the color of it. It's red in color. Any person in your class you see, everybody's blood is in red color only. That is due to because of hemoglobin, a pigment present in the red blood cells known as hemoglobin. It gives red color to our blood. How chlorophyll is giving green color to the leaves. You learnt in first lesson, nutrition in plants and animals. That lesson you learned that all the leaves are in green color due to the presence of chlorophyll pigment, right? Same way, here blood is in red color due to the presence of hemoglobin pigment. So this hemoglobin binds with oxygen and form the oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin. In the form of oxyhemoglobin, oxygen is supplied to each and every part of the cell. That's the main function the red blood cells are doing. They bind with the oxygen and form the oxyhemoglobin, and this oxygen is transported to each and every part of the cell. There, the remaining process takes place and release the energy for our body. Okay. And then next cells are WBC. WBC means white blood cells. WBC means white blood cells. They act like policemen in our body. You all know the duties of a policeman. They catch the thieves and protect our country and our neighborhood, right? So same way, the WBCs are also acting like policemen in the body. They do not have a particular shape, no particular shape, because they need to travel through narrow blood vessels. Okay, they'll change their shape, and the main important function the white blood cells are doing, they engulf the foreign particles. Foreign particles means if any germs like bacteria, virus or any harmful organisms, when they enter into the body, immediately the white blood cells will rush to that area. They'll catch that foreign particle or they catch that germs and they make the germs weak and they send out from the body. So they are protecting our body from diseases and they are helping us to improve our immunity. As soon as we have the blood cells, we won't get the diseases. And recently you are hearing about immunity. Try to increase your immunity. Take the immune giving food they are telling to against to the coronavirus. Okay. So these white blood cells are playing an important role in our body. They are identifying the germs or the particles which are harming to the body. When they enter, white blood cells will detect them, they'll fight with them, and they sense out from the body. And the last cells in blood are platelet cells. What are the functions of the platelet cells? Platelet cells, you might have observed sometimes when you are playing in the ground or any accidentally by mistake, if any accident happens to you or small cut occurred in your body, immediately what comes out from that wound? Yes, the blood comes out from that affected area, right? So, do this blood coming, oozing out of blood continuous for longer time? No. Automatically, it stops. The movement of the blood gets stopped after some time. How it's happening? Generally, we'll see in our areas, in our home also, your mom will put some turmeric powder or coffee powder, tea powder. Also, sometimes they'll keep on the wounded part and they'll press that area. Automatically, the flow of blood stops after some time. Without doing this first aid also, blood gets stopped. It won't continuously flow when we get any wound. The reason is these cells. The platelet cells which are present in our blood are helping to clot the blood. They are helping to clot the blood. Clot means stopping the flow of blood. Clot means stops the flow of blood. How do they stop the flow of blood? Because they are having a capacity. Thrombokinase protein is present. Immediately wherever the wounded area is there, these cells will rush to that area and they form like a thread-like structures and they form like a net shape and they stop the flow of blood. In such a way, the platelets are helping to stop the flow of blood known as clotting. They help in clotting process. Okay. So now we discussed about what's the meaning of circulatory system and what's taking an important role in the transportation or circulatory system. The blood is taking a leading role in circulatory system. And the functions of blood you learnt and the types of cells present in the blood you learnt and what are the functions of these cells you learnt. Right? Now we will see in the circulatory system there are another parts are also present along with the blood. Till now we discussed about the blood. And the other parts present in the circulatory system are blood vessels and heart. Blood vessels and heart. So in circulatory system, three important parts are there. One is blood, the second one is blood vessels, and the third one is heart. So about blood we discussed, and now we will discuss about blood vessels. What are the important blood vessels present in our body and what are their functions we'll see now. So before knowing about blood vessels till now what we discussed, in this you do one small home assignment. So your homework is write the functions of blood. Write the functions of blood And also mention the different types of blood cells and write their functions. Do this, write these 2 answers in your classwork, children, and send me the pics of that. In tomorrow's class, we'll discuss about different types of blood vessels present in our body and how they are helping. We are going to discuss. So do this homework. One is write the functions of blood and the other one is the different types of blood cells and their functions. Okay, children? Thank you.